Okay, so I've got to move some of these breakers down so I can put my generator 50 amp up there. This is it right here. And I turned the power off to the panel, turned off all the breakers, they're all in the off position. So I'm going to start moving like this one down, then I'm going to move all down like 1 or 2 slots, and then I'm going to put my 50 amp right there. So here's the generator cables coming in from the wall right there, and they're number 6s, and I've got the ends taped because I've got the insulation cut off. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break out that knockout right there, and I'm going to use this box connector, and it'll keep those wires from coming loose, you know, if they get tugged on or whatever. And then I'll put my 50 amp breaker right there. Well, I decided to go with the hole in the front. It's a little easier to get to. So I've got that box connector there, and my wires will come up through here. So I'm going to go ahead and feed them through right now. One-handed. I'll hold on to the camera. And I'm getting some resistance here. I don't want to scrape the insulation. So you can see I pulled the wires through this grommet here. It's a 3/4 inch. I tried to do it one-handed while I held the camera, but I couldn't do it. And so I pulled them through. I haven't tightened it down yet. See down there, I haven't screwed it tight yet. And there they go. Just kind of, they'll be loose down here, and I'll probably put some kind of a clamp right there on this wire. And I'm going to pull this through a little bit more, and that way I can hook this to the 50 amp breaker, and then get that, zoom back out here so you can see, and then get that 50 amp tied in there and installed right there. So I forgot to mention, to point out that this white wire is going to go to this neutral bus over here. I'll have to find a convenient place for it. And then this green wire, which is the ground, I'll have to loop it back around and tie it over here to this ground bus with all these bare wires here. So I got the got the green ground wire connected to that bottom lug. This is a number 6 ground, and it went in pretty smooth. So first thing I had to do was put that little bend in the wire because it's stiff, okay? And so here's the neutral. You see I haven't bent it yet, but I will bend it like right in here, put a little 90 in it, so that way it'll be easier to stab through the hole, because the wire will be running up vertically like this, and there's no way I can turn it to push it in. So I'll go ahead and make a 90 here, so it'll be sticking more in that direction like that. So I'm going to do that now. Maybe this will help a little bit. So I pushed the neutral wire down further. I've got my crook in here, my bend, and then that way it should line up with this hole right back there. Now I've got this panel turned off. I've checked it with the little tester, and it's all dead. So that's why I feel safe sticking my fingers in here. So I'm going to put it in that hole right there, and I'll show you after I get it done. And there's the neutral there at the very bottom. You can see it's that big white wire. It's kind of blurry, sorry. But I got that in the bottom spot. I had to move the wire from the bottom. There were no spare neutral holes, so I had to move the wire, one of the wires from the bottom up with one of the other wires. So hopefully yours is a little easier than this. Now I'm going to next connect the two black wires. I've got the ends taped up here so they don't get frayed, you know, they're protected. So I'm going to take those loose, and then I'm going to screw them into these two. So it'll be positioned like this. And then, but first I'm going to take the black wires and push them through the back of those so it's more concealed. It's not just out on the front. Make it kind of neat as I can. And then once I get the wires connected, I'll push the breaker in. The one thing I did when I was stripping the insulation off of the two line wires, the blacks, is I didn't want much, if any, wire exposed after I tighten them down. And so these are pretty close, and it's about, I'd say, 1/2 inch of insulation stripped off. Just a little bit of information for you. So I've got the wires connected to the breaker, and I've got it in position, and I'm going to push it in. Makes a nice firm connection there. Now all my breakers are in the off position. I did that when I turned the main off. There's the main. So all of these are in the off position. Now I'm not going to do anything with the generator right now, but I'm going to put the panel face back on, the cover, screw it down, and then I'll hit the main and then go from there. Make sure all these wires are tucked up in here good. And then this is surge protector for the panel. Got it back in place. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt the panel face back on, and I'll be back. So the only thing I have left to do for this setup, you can see, well, I've got to relabel some things. That breaker right there on the top, that 2-pole, that's the generator breaker. And I'll have to install my lockout device. It's getting kind of late in the day. Generator's not even outside yet. And the wires come down. I'm gonna put a little bracket right there and tie them down. And then the other thing I'll do is I'll squirt some sealant in that hole there to keep weather and insects and whatever out. And then I'll have to fix this little insulation. Here's the piece that I broke out. So, and then I'll have to put the sheetrock back and finish that off. So it was an interesting job. It was fun, and I'm almost done. Good evening. So I turned the power on the generator breaker, and I wanted to see if I've got power out here. This is the generator plug, and you can see the little indicating light shows that it does have power. So but be careful not to touch these prongs because they're live. And so turn this on. That's the neutral. Okay. So you can see that. So I'm going to take my multimeter, excuse me, because I'm just using one hand here, and I'm going to put this on volts AC. No, that's over here. Okay, we'll put it on 600 volts. And I don't know if I can do this. Let me see. Grab the leads first. Okay. So I got the leads. And try to position this so I can hold both. And I can't. Let's do this. Put this up here. Okay. Maybe that's better. Okay. So that's this one and this one. And okay, 123 volts. 123 volts. That's line to neutral. Across both lines. See if I can get this. We'll take these off. Those in my pocket, and 246 volts. Okay, so across the two lines here and here was 240, and from this one to this one and this one to this one it was a little bit over 120, 123 I think it said. Yeah, 123. And so it's confirmed that this plug will work for my generator. That's what I wanted. Thanks, bye.